Such a great song from the waning days of the early 90s alt-rock scene. This is Live's off their Throwing Copper blockbuster record, All Over You. I guess this came out like 95, 96, when the alt-rock movement had been sufficiently corporately co-opted, corporatized. I think I made up 2 words in that half sentence. It was starting to become, the sound was starting to become more aligned with musicians and bands that had more of a mainstream sensibility, but the music was still great, and I could argue in some ways even better. Bands like Live, at least for a few songs. I'm gonna get to Live in a second, but Live, Local H, Fountains of Wayne. So many awesome. Oasis. They're the Oasis are the epitome of what I'm talking about. Bands that learned the best lesson from the grunge and alt-rock movement, which is to put artistry first. Artistry and excuse me, artistry and artistic integrity first. But they didn't throw the baby out in the bathwater. A band like Oasis, they said, okay, we love big guitars, we love big choruses, we love arena rock shows, and we're going to synthesize the punk rock inspired artistic lessons from this amazing musical movement, and we're going to synthesize it with our, I don't know, what would you say, mainstream, overt, arena rock sensibilities. And I think Live straddles that line too. You could argue Live were a bit dorky. The frontman, Ed Qualstick, a bit pretentious, but man, what an amazing voice. And with songs like this, All Over You, total banger. Another song that I've really grown to appreciate in recent years and even in recent months is Lightning Crashes. I mean, just a stunning song. I love the theme of it. It's a woman who dies in childbirth, and the visitation of the angel. It's gorgeous. And there's a few songs off this Throwing Copper record that really hit that bullseye. Selling the Drama is another really good song. This is probably my favorite though, although Lightning Crashes is creeping up on this one. But All Over You is always my favorite banger off Throwing Copper. And that wonderful, synergistic, that wonderful time in the mid-90s where the punk rock, alt-rock, grunge movement finally synergized with traditional mainstream rock and roll standards. And again, I can argue that the music was even better with this band and the other bands that I just mentioned. There's probably a couple others that are escaping me that were kind of like mainstream alternative bands. Hum, they're a bit more artsy than the ones I mentioned, but Hum from Chicago, amazing band that came out in the mid-90s. Alt-rock sensibility with more of a traditional arena rock and roll presentation. And listening to All Over You, it always reminds me of one of my first guitar lessons when I was 17. I started playing guitar really late. I was more interested in singing and songwriting, and then it finally hit me. Wait, if I play the guitar, if I learn a few chords, I could probably write more songs. But that's why I'm kind of a mediocre at best guitar player. But my guitar teacher, my biggest thrill was to bring a blank cassette tape into my guitar teacher, who was amazing. He was a total rock star, great teacher, very affordable, gave cheap lessons to everyone in Bergen County. Gavin, I think he spawned at least one entire generation of guitar players in Bergen County, New Jersey. That's an amazing legacy. But I used to bring in, I copy, this is before all this awful, evil, high-end technology. like the one I'm taking advantage of right now. This is when we had blank tapes and tape decks and not much else. So I'd copy a song that I wanted to learn on guitar onto a blank tape. I'd bring it to Gavin, and he would, in less than a minute, figure out the chords and teach me it. And that, man, when I would watch his hands start to discover the song that I wanted to learn on the fretboard, oh man, every nerve was on fire. I mean, chills beyond chills racing up my spine. Oh, what a thrill. Those early music days are arguably the best in a musician's life. When you're first learning, when you're first writing, when I bought my first 4-track, and I was first starting to put together songs and, you know, experiment with different arrangements with the multi-track capabilities. Amazing. So yeah, when I showed him All Over You, he figured it out for me, and he said it just shows. I think it's a fairly simple song. There's a bit of movement in the chord changes. I don't remember them exactly, but I think there might be a 5-chord progression in this, which is slightly sophisticated for a pop song or a pop rock song. But after he figured it out, he said it just goes to show that you can make great music without doing something overly complicated. And I thought that was really cool. And Gavin often gave me insights along those lines about music, which again just reinforces the sentiment of the joy of those early days of musical discovery. You know, you have someone like that, you know, someone who acts as a teacher or a mentor, and you find it mostly with your friends as you all are in that naive, innocent discovery phase, and you know, you're listening to different records, and you're letting people borrow CDs, and you're borrowing CDs, and most of the CDs never get returned, but that's also part of the joy. You know, this music just gets spread around, and you lose track of it because all of you are just constantly digging, you know, and not even knowing what you're looking for. But I guess it's just that next ultimate stimulation, you know, from hearing something great, you know, at least to you, something that's great. So yeah, so this song always reminds me of that guitar lesson. Yeah. All right, gotta go in the gym. Thank you everyone for watching. Yeah, until next time.